Okay, so new topic today, guys. We're gonna be talking about Muhammad and Islam, and I'm gonna tell you guys what God told me about Islam and the Prophet Muhammad. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you my thoughts first. I was almost Muslim before I became Christian. The reason why I almost chose Islam over Christianity is because I loved the way Muslims carried themselves. And based on what I saw, I love the discipline and I love what the women wore, the head, the covering. I love that. I thought that was cool. If you guys can answer this question for me, I know they do that for God, which is fantastic. I think women should do more for God. Obviously, men to do more for God. Just throwing it in there for women so they don't shoot shots at me. But yeah, I love that women do that for God. I think a real woman is one that serves God. Um, but can you guys, any Muslims, answer this question for me? Do they also wear that to aid men, help men with their lustful issues? That would be fantastic if they did that for their brothers. I'm not sure. I don't know too much about the customs, but I do know a little bit about Islam as I was about to choose it at one point in my life. So yeah, like I said, I love the discipline. I love the what the women wear. I loved how Muslims carried themselves, and they seemed way more disciplined than Christians. I grew up around Christians my whole entire life. Most of them seemed like crap. They seemed fake. They seemed lost. They seemed like they didn't know what they were doing. They seemed like they were just following the crowd. I did not like Christians. I did not like Christianity. And honestly, I'm still a Christian, but I still don't like that Christians that much anyway today. I feel like most Christians don't take God seriously, and I think they don't like God as much as they try to act. So those are some reasons why I was about to become a Muslim. The only reason I did it is because once I really set my eyes on Jesus Christ of the Bible, the one where they say he's God and he died on the cross, that's the difference. Obviously he's the Messiah in Islam. They don't believe in Islam that he died on the cross, and they do not believe that Jesus Christ is God. That's the separation. But I believe that he was because I loved how loving that act was. And when I look at that act, it really shows me that God does love us versus anything else. It's just people saying he does. That's an act that is actually shown and is proven through history. So I chose Christianity based on that, not the people, not traditions, not Christian culture, because of that. And then I ran with it after that, and I started studying, and then I started getting experiences from God, and that's how I became Christian, where I kept farthering through it. It wasn't this intellectual race that I think a lot of people play. When I see a lot of debates between Muslims and Christians, it's an intellectual battle. I think in this day and age, everything's about how intelligent you are and how knowledgeable you can be, when in reality, you can't gain everything through intellect or just gaining knowledge. I can promise you it's going to take you a long time, and it's going to be not worth the trouble, right? I'm studying because God told me to. And granted, I was studying before, but I promise you, it was it took up a lot of time. It's a lot more hassle, and there's a stupid amount of information out there, a stupid amount. So I was very grateful that God actually came to me when he saw I was serious. Okay, so moving on from all that, I'm Christian, and this is what God told me about Islam and Muhammad. God told me that Islam has some truth in it, which I think any Christian would agree that there is some truth in Islam. But ultimately, Islam is not the religion. God told me that Satan came to Muhammad. God also told me that Satan, or not Satan, God also told me that Muhammad is in hell. And he also told me that after he said that, because I asked him, I was like, where is Muhammad? I said, is Muhammad in heaven? He said, no. He said, Muhammad's in hell. Then he proceeded to say, pedophiles, pedophilia is a sin. So he was calling Muhammad a pedophile. Everyone knows about, well, there's a big knowledge about him dating that one girl. I'm not sure if she was 12 or 9. There's, I haven't studied too much into it. Honestly, I didn't really care too much. I knew I was going to study about Quran and the Quran eventually later in life, but I have came across this. It never really bothered me because I was Christian. I didn't really, it didn't have to bother me, but I did hear about it. Apparently, did marry a child, and then he did, consummate the marriage at some point when she was a child. According to God, Muhammad suffered from pedophilia, and he's in hell because he was a pedophile and he was deceived by the devil. He said that the devil was the one that came for him. And guys, do not come for me. I am telling you exactly what was told to me. That's all I'm doing. Apparently, Islam is not the religion. There is truth in it. And that's why there's so much complication going on, because the devil's smart and he knows how to deceive people. I'm going to give you guys a few more thoughts on this before I go. I also believe that Muslims suffer from their culture, being a certain people. I think most Muslims are from the Middle East. Most of them are Arab. I think having such a strong tie in your identity is another reason why people cling on to it so hard and why so many people get so flustered and angry about it. I love Arab people, people from the Middle East. I love all those people. And I believe Jesus Christ was a man that resembled them more than anybody else. I'm a strong believer in that. So I have no hatred or no feelings to any of them. And like I said before, I was going to be a Muslim at some point. This isn't an intellectual battle. I can study, I can study Christian, the Bible, I can study whatever forever. I can honestly study all of them. End of the day, it doesn't matter about none of that. End of the day, it only matters what God tells me. I don't care what anyone says. I've looked into some of this stuff before, and honestly, my mind gets blown to pieces because anything can sound good. I'm not looking for what sounds good. I'm only looking for what's true. And when God starts speaking to me and starts telling me what's true, and not only telling me but showing me, I'm following that, and it lines up with the Bible, as He told me. Christianity is true. The Trinity is true. So I'm going to go with Jesus Christ as God in Christianity. I hope this helps somebody. There are certain Muslims that have deconverted and became Christian. There is this one man that I know of for sure, but I believe he died of cancer. I can't remember his name. If you guys can look him up, look up videos of Muslims that were Christian at one time, and this guy grew up Muslim. He had a family that was, very entrenched in that culture and those certain traditions, and he neglected Christianity because he was brought up like that. He had family that was like that, so he couldn't, in a way, but he did break free and eventually found the truth. I will challenge any Muslim, just be honest with yourself. I'm not saying stray away from religion, choose whatever you want. I don't really care, it's not my problem, but challenge yourself. Like me, I grew up around Christians my whole life, rejecting them, right? I didn't choose Christianity because of where I grew up and my people. I don't have a family. I mean, I live in a house with a whole bunch of people, but this family isn't really united. I've never had a family. I don't have one now, besides, my roommates, which, again, aren't united. No one influenced me to pick this. I chose it for myself, and then I had personal experiences. Even when I chose Christianity, I was still studying Islam, Hinduism, a whole bunch of different stuff, because I wanted to be certain. When it comes to an intellectual battle, you're never really certain. You're always studying, you're always grinding, and there's always a what if. What I love about Christianity is faith. You have faith in who? God, Jesus Christ. I place my faith on God and Jesus Christ all day, every day. I don't trust myself to lead. I trust God to lead me. Once again, guys, you guys take care. God bless, and thank you guys for listening. Peace.